Yep, I know I'm not supposed to be making tutorials anymore, but here I am. I can't really quit on what I already started. So, as I already said inside the previous video or the videos that I made mention of not making tutorials anymore, I have to finish this After Effects 101 course, and that is what I am going to do. If you don't really care about that and you're here just to learn, my name is Farid and you're watching After Effects 101, a series on this channel where I take the ins and outs, the tips and tricks of Adobe After Effects and break them down into simpler bits for you to understand. Before we get into what we're going to be doing today, let's roll up the intro and then get started. Before we head on to the topic that we are going to be learning about today, I'll urge you that if you haven't hit the subscribe button, do that right now. It's not by force, but I just urge that you do it. Turn on the notification bell so you'd be notified whenever I post exciting contents like this. Hit the like button, leave a comment on which video you want me to create, and just do whatever you like. It really helps the YouTube algorithm make new viewers or new people discover the channel. So let's get right into what we're going to be doing today. The content aware fill. Now, I got to know about this powerful tool way long before I even started using After Effects. That was when I was even a Photoshop user. Now, what the content aware fill does is that it patches parts of your picture or your image which is torn using the main image itself as a reference. How do you explain this to someone who has never touched Photoshop in his life? Now, what the content aware fill does is that it picks patches from the main image itself and then it joins them to fill up the patch. The content aware fill is basically used for cleanups. That's when you have an unwanted something inside your footage and you just want to take it off, like let's say a man standing on the road, a signage or billboard or some text or something. Now, the disadvantage of the content aware fill is that it's not really dependable. Sometimes it makes patches and glitches, sometimes it does a whole bunch of things, so I wouldn't really advise that you use the content aware fill every time. You use different ways to patch up your image or something. Enough blabbering about the content aware fill. Now let's go right into After Effects and see how we can implement this into After Effects and our footage. Now here we are in Adobe After Effects and I've already imported my footage right into After Effects. If you don't know how to do that, I guess I'm leaving the link in the playlist, a link to the playlist in the description so you can go check it out and start from scratch. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new composition from the selection, and this footage was gotten from Pexels, which is a free stock site where you can get free videos and stock footages and stuff. You can just check them out, link in the description, so you can also find footages to work on for practice or whatever you want to use them for. So now these are beds inside here, and what I need to do is I want to just make this a clean footage. Yeah, so the first thing I want to do is I want to duplicate and have a free, nothing is on it, free frame, or let's just call it a reference frame. Yeah, so I'm just going to duplicate this by pressing Ctrl D, and then I'm going to rename this to our reference frame. And then I'm just going to turn this off and it's never ever going to appear again. We are not going to touch anything, so I can even decide to lock it and make it shy so we don't really even see it inside our composition, so it will be disturbing us again. So now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to have to create masks for whatever we want to clean up inside our footage. Yeah, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pick the pen tool here, or I can just press G to bring up the pen tool, and then I'm going to take this bed off. That's the first one. So I'm just going to create a rough mask around this bed this way. Now I'm creating a shape. I have to select this and keep creating my mask. Now I've got my mask, a rough mask around my bed like this, and I'm just going to bring up my mask tab and I'm just going to set this to none. That's for the moment. We are going to set it to a different blend mode, but let's just leave this on none at the moment. And then I'm going to move to the mask path because this bed keeps moving throughout the whole video. And then I'm just going to find significant points at which the bed doesn't really move that much, and then I'm just going to keep adjusting my mask to fill up. I'm just going to keep adjusting my mask like this to just cover the bed wherever it's going. You can decide to use mask tracking, but I'm just doing a rough sketch so you guys can get the idea. Yeah, this is it. Yeah, this. I think our bed is almost out, so I wouldn't be needing a lot of keyframes. Yes, like this. And this. So you can decide to create keyframes for your mask by right clicking here and tracking the mask. That's if you're feeling lazy to do everything manually. Yeah, so I'm just going to move in this way and see where my bed go. Yep, it left immediately like here. So I'm just going to bring this way and just keep moving. So I think our bed is out, so I'm just going to end this here. I think I can just change our composition settings to let's just end it here. How many seconds is this? I don't even know how many seconds that is. That's like 4 seconds. So I'm just going to change this to 4 seconds here, so we can have this here to work with. Now we're just going to change this blend mode to subtract and then play through to see how our mask worked. I think we can see our wing somewhere, so let me just expand this mask by 15. And yeah, so now let me just feather this by 10 to just create a bit of a smooth edge and not to let anybody feel as if there was something there. So now I think we have our mask covering what we do not want everybody to see. Yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to move to the right side of our workspace and look for the content aware fill here, and here we can now check the parameters that we have. Now this alpha expansion here increases the mask search area. It won't increase here, but it increases here. So I'm just going to leave this on default. I think it was somewhere 5. Let's just leave it on 5. And then with the fill method, we have object, surface, edge blend. However you want it, you can pick it. And the range, we have the work area or the entire duration. Now what this basically means is whether if I had to set this to this point, it will only fill it up to this point, but I think we need it in the entire duration. So I'm just going to click entire duration and leave it this way. And now this is where the trick comes in. You can decide to create a content aware fill without a reference frame, or you can decide to do it with a reference frame. Now what the reference frame does is that it basically sends you into Photoshop, yeah, to create a frame which After Effects is going to use. It's going to aid After Effects in the content aware fill. You know, technology isn't really that perfect, right? So you can decide to create your manual frame. You can decide to create your reference frame manually, or you can decide to let After Effects do it automatically. So we are going to let After Effects do it automatically at first, and then we are now going to make After Effects do it with our help using the clone stamp tool. But since this is basically a blue sky, I think After Effects is going to work with it perfectly. So let me just show you how the generate reference frame or the create reference frame really works. So once you click on the create reference frame, it's going to redirect you to Adobe Photoshop, but I think I have to save this first. So I'm just going to create this one, course 6, and I'm just going to course. No, this is course 7, yeah, course 7, and then it's going to start with opening Adobe Photoshop for me. So I'm just going to hold up, and so now we have Photoshop open, and this has been named as the reference layer, and this gives us this checkered background here, which we already know it means nothing is behind it in Photoshop. Yeah, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to pick the clone stamp tool here, and then we're just going to paint over this with basically I don't think I need to explain it again, so I'm just going to So once I'm done painting the reference frame, I think this looks cool. All I'm just going to do is I'm going to press Ctrl S, or I'm just coming to File, and I'm going to click on Save, and then once it saves, it's going to reflect in After Effects. Now you see it's patched completely. So our reference frame is already here now. So now all we are just going to do is we are going to click on Generate Fill Layer and let After Effects do the rest for us. So now we can see it has started analyzing. After analyzing, it's going to process and stuff. So I'm just going to fast forward this one, and we'll meet up after the process. So right after our stuff is done, I guess we can now play through and see what happens. So you can see when I play through, or when I move through, my mask keeps following, and it has created a new layer called Fill. So this reference frame hasn't been touched, but since it had a mask on it, that was why I decided to create the reference frame. So you can decide to do some adjustments whenever anything happens or something. So let me just play this through again with our fill layer turned on, and you see what happens. We have a completely clear blank reference frame, a completely blank result. Yeah, so you can basically apply this knowledge into any single video which you feel as if you can use the content aware fill in. If you think the content aware fill is not really going to do that much of a good job, you can help it by creating a reference frame and just generating the fill layer that way. And you can keep correcting your mistakes, the mistakes After Effects made, because technology isn't perfect. I said it in 2021. Okay, so if you learned anything, I think you can leave this video a like, leave it a comment in the comment section. It helps the YouTube algorithm in helping new people find this video or discovering this channel. And most of all, you can just hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you'd be notified whenever I post exciting content like these. So till the next episode, or till next week, get some creative ideas and make it real. I hope I see you in my next video.